The next key feature that I want to talk about here are asymptotes. Now, our asymptotes are lines that the graph approaches but never reaches. So my graph here are these green lines, and if I look, this green line here is getting closer to this dotted purple line that is my horizontal asymptote. And up here it is getting closer to this dotted line that's my vertical asymptote, and the same thing on this side. But if I zoomed out, no matter how far, these green lines are going to get ever closer to these dotted lines, but they will never reach them. And that means that this value right here doesn't exist. And I can use that to help me find my vertical asymptotes. I have to scroll out or use analytic methods that we'll learn later to find my horizontal asymptotes. So if I look here at my graph, I can try zooming out. This is my standard screen, but when I zoom out, I have to hit enter. When I zoom out, I'm very far out, and I can still see that the asymptotes are here. I can certainly see it's gotten very flat, but it's hard to see where they are. So I'm going to take the zoom back to the standard and then manually adjust it. Using that 6 brings my zoom back to this 10 by 10 window that we start from. So I'm going to go to the window and I'm going to try to double the size. So I'm going to change all of these 10s to 20s. And there we go. And now let's try that. Let's see if we can see where my asymptotes are a little better. So if I look at this, I think it's at 3, but it's hard to tell. I might need to go back to the standard. This is certainly over this axis, but it's not definitely there. So we're going to go back to 6 and look at it again here in the zoom in. So we know that there is an asymptote here and that it's above this. So I'm thinking that it might be at 1, but what if we open our window out just to go a little bit further here? So maybe we're a little more centered. And see if that helps us to see. We do seem to be approaching 1 here. This seems to be at 3. I can check for the vertical asymptote. I can do that in my calc menu. And the way that I do that is using value. I think it's at 3, so I'm going to check it. I hit enter and I get nothing here. So that is indeed where my asymptote is. If I tried something else, if I thought perhaps that it was 4 and I hit enter, I do get a y value here. So I get nothing. It does not give an error message, but it does leave it blank where the asymptote is because there's no y values that match with this. So I have a vertical asymptote at x equals 3, and I think that this horizontal one is probably at y equals 1. I can open my window out this way a little bit more perhaps to see. If I bring this out perhaps to 25, maybe we'll be able to see, yeah, it's definitely getting below the 2 here. I can even pull it out further. Again, I don't want to be there. I am just making this larger, and perhaps let me do this. I have not changed my y at all because I don't want to make it so that I can't see where the line is. So yes, this appears to be at y equals 1. So now I have found my vertical and horizontal asymptotes with a little help from studying the graph on my graphing calculator, and I could confirm the vertical one just by trying it. Again, second calc value and what I think that value is gives me no y at all. So we will be asked in this unit to show us the features on a sketched graph that perhaps is coming from a graphing calculator initially, drawing in the dashed asymptotes that the graph is approaching. And we will get these a lot with our rational functions.